Good day, future diplomats. My name is Travis. If this is your first time on this channel, and if you are not new to this channel, you may be used to us connecting on Foreign Service Officer test strategies when it comes to studying. This is the channel where we do become or do prepare to become United States diplomats. But on Fridays, we now have Focus Fridays. We have had a few opportunities to be a little bit more mindful in our time, in our day, and an opportunity to do that. And I'll share my screen with you very briefly. When you are becoming a United States diplomat, you will get a chance to journal. You will get a chance to write and reflect on your day. If you had important meetings with an embassy or a consulate or certain officers, a specialist, or an ambassador, you do want to make sure that you're able to recall that meeting. And in doing that, you do need to be present in that time. You may have different methods of recording that meeting so you can go back and have those notes. But in this case, I mean, even here on the fsot.com, we do have journal prompts to help cue up certain thinking, more so to dive into critical thinking and allow you to think deeper into certain topics. Something that really encouraged me to share this video with you today is my own journey when it comes to journal writing. So, it is probably no coincidence that this section is called Journal My Journey. But it's one thing I'm grateful for is in my day of studying or language learning, especially for the FSOT, I find myself getting so distracted by everything that comes my way. I have my niece here. Her name is Carriel Patterson, or Williams Patterson, as you see on her screen. And she actually has a customized journal company, and she'll share a little bit about that here in a moment. But what encouraged me to have this as a journal prompt for you today, if you want to kind of dive into the conversation, maybe share your own thoughts in the conversation. If you want, you can also participate in the chat. But if you are writing, these are some things that kind of crossed my mind as I began to kind of curate my thoughts and again, just begin to think deeper. Last week, I was fasting, and more so in the fact of I realized that my screen time on my phone was like super high. And in doing that, it really challenged me to one is like, well, what do I do with my time, and why do I feel so busy, and how can I get unbusy? And if anything, more than anything, I just wanted to kind of redirect that time to something that can be a little bit more productive. So I set some screen time limitations on my phone, like 15 minutes total a day on all social media. Which was very challenging for me, especially coming off of being on my phone for anywhere between 30 to 50 hours a week, which is, kind of sad and embarrassing to say, but it's the truth. At first, my screen time went down 40%, and then my screen time went down to 70%. And there were some days where I was just not on my phone at all, even to a point where I would leave my phone in the car the night before and just not even come and get it for at least a couple of days. And people have to call my wife to get me. And I loved it. Honestly, I loved the fact that I could be so present in the moment and read. And I started realizing, well, what can I do with all this freed up time? This 40 hours of my life I just got back. I started diving into reading more of the Bible, reading more into self-development books. I started journaling more. I started working out more. Before doing that, I was only able to do like 5 push-ups, and now I'm up to close to 300 push-ups a day now, just because I didn't think I had enough time. I just started making excuses about how busy I was. And removing that screen time, and I'm not saying phones are just so dangerous and phones are the enemy and they're so bad, because there's a lot of great things you can do with them. But if you find yourself just too busy, and even to a point where you don't even have your phone, but you think you're busy because you're just sitting there just trying to unwind and it takes you a couple hours to unwind, I would challenge you to just really be set apart from your phone from time to time and just try to be present with whatever you're thinking about. I mean, just let that be your first thought. So my prompt that I'm going to ask you, and I want to get Kara's thoughts on, her experience as well, because she shared a very incredible story with me recently about her very similar time with removing the phone. But what are some things that you would like to do if you had more time in your day? And if you feel comfortable, you can share that in the comments. I will respond to you. And maybe another prompt of thinking is, what are some ways that you find yourself wanting to be more present if you do not have more screen time? So what are your thoughts? What is your experience, Carrie?
So my experience is pretty much what I shared with you before. I was kind of forced by my job to not be on my phone because I worked 12 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. By the time I got off, it was already about midnight. And so
Yeah,
Uh, so during my trainer's time, and now that I'm going on my regular schedule, my same process would be where I cannot have my phone. But in that, I have learned that mentally I can fill my mind with more stuff. I like to read, and so for a while I kept saying, before I started this job, I kept wanting to read more, but I never got the chance to. I get on TikTok, and next thing you know, 3 hours go by. I'm on
same.
Facebook, next thing you know, it's nighttime. And so, me just having this opportunity to be without my phone, I found myself detached from it, to the point where now, like you said, I can leave my phone in the car and it don't bother me, because I will find something else to, you know basically
Supplement that
put me,
time.
yeah, I'm winding down, and normally my wind down would be me just catching up on my messages, catching up on
Hmm.
TikTok, and
Hmm.
then next thing you know,
They call that doom scrolling now.
right. But now I say I have a book on my dresser that I read before I go to bed. And I just kind of fill my time up with more inspirational books. Of course, I study the word. But in the other times, instead of being on my phone, I can find myself more present with my brother, with my niece and my nephew.
For sure.
I actually, honestly, I have more energy.
Really.
Yeah.
Speak on that a bit if you can.
Um, I feel like because the more that we just be on our phones, you kind of get lax. You get relaxed and you kind of let the time pass you by. But being intentional, you are more intentional when you don't have that time on your phone like you did before, or like you find yourself reading more books, but in that evaluation, as you read the books, now you finding ways to apply it. And so that in all make you more intentional with just life, period.
For
um
sure.
and, and I found that being very helpful for me because I'm in a new season where my life shifted, and there was a time where I didn't have to be as present, and nobody was counting on me to be as present. But now these kids are counting on me to be present with them. My brother is counting on me to help him with his grieving process. But I couldn't see that because of the fact that I was still in my own little bubble. But I feel like, I am a believer in Christ. So I do feel like, God placed me in a predicament where these detachments has came in place. So now
Yeah.
I can find myself on my days off taking the kids to the park, find myself on my days off reading a book that helps me with a current struggle that I'm working through. Or, instead of filling that time with my eyes on drama on Facebook.
Self-development, personal development, I think are all very key necessities when it comes to getting better, in one's day. And something that you spoke of, and I definitely encourage people to consider that in their own journey, is that sometimes what you're going through, it may be based on season.
Yeah.
And it may be based on what you're doing in that moment. You may have a book or a journal or a diary that's based on a certain season in your life. I know, anyway, and you can pretty much, relate to what that is like, because not every season is a tough one. Not every season is uphill. You may switch from one language to another. I know just this time last year, I was traveling, and that journal is completely different than me studying. So if I'm just very grateful for an opportunity. And again, that prompt, just for the sake of critical thinking and just deeper thinking and being more present, is what would you do if you had more time in your day? Again, I was able to relieve up to 50 hours a week from just putting down my phone. And I found myself being able to go and get other things done and be productive in different parts of my life. And what are some things that you would like to do, if you had more time? So just think about those as you're prompting today in your journal. Very grateful for my niece to be able to join us today. If you're interested in having a journal that maybe expresses where you are in your season, I will put a link down in the description, and you can check out, her links, and reach out to her, and she'll personalize a journey for your a journal for your season. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you are new to studying for the Foreign Service Officer test, we meet every Monday. Right now, we are also studying Tuesdays and Wednesdays because the test is coming up very soon. But other than that, I will see you next week. There's a form in the description where you can also join us live for those live study sessions. I look forward to having you then. Have a great day. Thank you.